I'm gonna line up my 3 pieces of cardstock. Green's gonna be my foreground, the white's gonna be my middle ground, and the blue's gonna be my background, like the sky. I'm gonna line them up, and then I'm just gonna fold all 3 of them together on one side. I'm not measuring, I just want them all to be folded the same. And then I'm gonna do this same thing on the left side, just like that. So for right now, I'm gonna just take my blue background and set it off to the side. I'm gonna mark my white paper, my middle ground. I'm gonna split it right down the middle. And my foreground, see how I'm measuring here? I'm gonna split this in half. So I have a half, and if this is half of a half, that means this is a quarter. Now I'm gonna cut on both of these lines. Now I'm going to use the leftover parts of my white, and I'm going to think about some of the shapes that I see in architecture, like rectangles and thin rectangles. So I have all these different shapes. I'm going to take my middle ground, and we looked at the Taj Mahal and the symmetry that's on there. You can make a choice whether you want your building to be symmetrical or not. So if I set this on here, I'm going to need to overlap it so that I can have this stick. So when I think about the Taj Mahal, I think of the towers on the sides and the main building. So I'm going to take those, I'm going to get out my glue stick, and I'm going to add those to my middle ground. I can think about different heights. Oh, I kind of like it like that. And these two aren't quite balanced. This one's a little thinner, but that's okay. Make sure those are on there really nicely. Time for a quick cat inspection. Now I also have some pieces of construction paper off to the side. You can use any colors that you like. Looks like Sparky likes green like I do. A nice bright yellow. And this is going to be a rather small diorama kind of that we're making. So I'm going to take this, and one of the things that's hard when we talk about the Taj Mahal is those lovely onion domes. So I'm going to fold my paper in half. I'm going to pay attention to where my fold is, because the fold has to be in the center. And I'm going to start at the fold, and I'm going to curve down like that. Now when I cut on that, of course I'm going to create a symmetrical shape. Oh, and Sparky's checking out the camera now. Oh, watch out, Sparky, you don't want a whisker trim. And when I open it, I have a nice symmetrical shape that looks like that lovely onion dome. I have my pencil line there, so I might turn it over. And this one actually fits pretty well on here. If it was too big or too small and I wanted to change it, just fold it back up. Let's see. So I see how this one is just overhanging a little bit. I could just add a little bit more of of a curve there. And there's my lovely onion dome. And again, I'm going to need to overlap it a little bit. I could go quite far down if I wanted to. I can decide. I like it right about there. Now if I want to make a pair, if I want these to be matching, I'm going to take 2 pieces of paper, I'm going to put them right on top of each other and fold them. And that way when I cut my, and you know what, I'm going to fold it so that the white side's here so you can see it better. When I cut them out, I'm going to get 2 that are exactly the same size. So this is my fold, and I'm going to draw my curve. See it right there. And when I open them, I have a symmetrical shape, and I have 2. So I can put those right on. And I can think about them, if I want them in front, they're going to be on top of the yellow dome. If I want them to look like they're further away, they would be underneath. And I'm going to glue those down. Okay, so I separated my background again because I know I want to add more detail. And I'm going to use my silver Sharpie. And you can add any pattern that you'd like for this. I'm just doing these they're kind of vertical stripes, but because of the shape of the dome, they have a curve to them. And then maybe for the green ones, I'll just do horizontal. Now you can see why you need to do these marks on here before you add it to your background, because it's going to be really hard to draw on here afterwards. Just add a few little dots. I don't want to add too much, but a little bit of an accent is nice. Maybe I'll outline the edges. I'm not going to color in large shapes with my Sharpie. I'm just using it to detail small areas. These look a little plain now, so I'll just put a little detail in there. That looks good. Now I know how tall these are. This I would have to estimate on the blue background. So I'm going to put the glue on these tabs. I'm going to do both of them, but I'm going to go one at a time because I think that'll be easier. So I'm going to bring my background down. I'm going to line that up. I'm just going to kind of push it into place. And I'm going to rub that. In fact, I can actually flip that right over. Rub that. I'm going to bring this one back. I'll put it right here. Now this one has to be a little bit more gentle. I'm going to put one hand inside to support it, and one hand outside. Now I have this 3-dimensional Taj Mahal. It's got kind of sides on there too. And the last thing I have is my foreground. So I'm going to have this kind of curved front. Oh, another cat inspection. So I've got my strip of paper here and decide what it's going to look like, and then I'm going to just bring this down here, and I'm going to add some like kind of garden elements to the front. So I've got some green paper here. I'm just going to draw on there, and I'm going to add some of the trees. There's actually trees that kind of line the garden, or the fountain in the water in the front of the Taj Mahal. Once again, if I was just thinking as I started to draw these, if I fold my paper in half, fold it in half again, now I can see that I have a split there, so I'm going to draw it up here. Here, I'm going to just cut that off so it's all at the same level. So if I draw like a little arborvitae tree, I'm just going to make a little tree like that. Because I have all those layers, when I cut it out, I'm going to get 4 of them. And that's just a guideline. It's nice to draw on the white side of the paper because I'm going to glue that side down so you won't see the pencil lines. And there I have 4 little bushes. So I'm not going to have them stick up too far. I think I'm going to leave them right about like that. I'm going to glue those down. It helps if you put the glue side down, doesn't it? Now I want this to stick out as well. I don't want it to be flat on here. That looks nice, but again, I'm trying to create a 3-dimensional space. So, if I want it to stand, I am going to need to line up these bottom edges, because if I, right, see how I have this? I want to have it all lined up. But when I first folded these, it kind of matched like the same as the other ones, the same fold as this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift it off, and I'm going to, where my fold is here, I'm going to fold that in half, just to help me make it stick out. Sparky agrees with me. And I'm going to put my glue on that quarter tab again. And I'm going to do one side. And there was my original fold, and I folded it in half here. So it's going to stick out a little further, and I'm going to make sure I line all of these up so it's going to stand. I'm going to rub that because I'm only using a glue stick, so I got to make sure it really sticks. And then when I do this side, again, you can see my original fold and my second fold. I only put glue on this one so that this will stand up. So what I've created is like an arc. And you can see how the background, the middle ground, and the foreground are all separated. So when I set it down, I have this cool diorama. Now, it seems, I think, pretty clear that I was inspired by the Taj Mahal. I love the onion domes, I love the symmetry, but you could do your own design of the building. You can research your own famous building. St. Basil's Cathedral is a gorgeous building that this would look really lovely on. You could even do it for your own home. And there's my lovely 3D architecture. You don't even have to have a shoebox to make your own diorama.